Me and Ralf, we practice 1-2 days together, a couple of hours, and think we play good together. And we already know each other a couple of years, so the spirit is good, and I think we will do it good.
Well, obviously we have to play Indonesia first round, which is, not an easy game. And actually they beat us a couple of years ago in the first round, so there's still a score to settle. We definitely have the manpower to win the event. But as I said, you need a little luck, you need a good start into the event. And if that works out, then we are definitely a team to look out for.
Well, often in individual matches, we talk about a clash of styles. I think the Germans are a clash of styles within one team. As Alex said, one of them is really quick, the other one is methodical. But I think if they get into a groove, they will be mighty difficult to stop. As Ralf Souquet said, a score to settle here, because Indonesia have beaten them in the past in this fine tournament. Tonight, you have to say, although the Indonesians are capable, Germany must be regarded as favourites.
Well, when you talk about getting in that rhythm, yes, Ralf is a very methodical player, and if he's playing in a tournament without a shot clock, he can be quite slow. But when Ralf is on a shot clock, the man can play probably better than he is without a shot clock, which is, look at the Mosconi Cup. He is a legend in the Mosconi Cup, and won the event 7 times with Team Europe, and won the Whirlpool Masters 6 times, U.S. Open, World 9-ball, World 8, but the man's won everything. And so when he's put on that clock, he can play. Believe me, he's actually better. So he won't have a problem with speeding things up.
Yes, I think it actually does him a favour, because the clock makes his mind up for him. So in this evening's session already we've seen one upset. I think Indonesia beating Germany, though, would be considered an even greater shock than Scotland coming through. Actually, there's no thinking about it. That would be a statement of fact. Took a while for a ball to find a pocket. In the end, though, the 8 did flop in. Given where the red 3 ball is, it would have been better had the cue ball stopped maybe 4 or 5 inches earlier than it did. This looks tremendous. Oh, just slightly too hard. That's really unfortunate. What a valiant effort. The speed of these tables under the TV lights for these massive tournaments a little quicker than most of the fellows are used to. Well, it's cost Indonesia the table, but not the rack.
Extension call.
I think that shot pretty much sums up Ralf Souquet. Solid, steady, dependable. The 7-ball doing his bidding.
So it'll be the young man with one name, Arun, shooting for Indonesia. Double kiss, and that's why you play a good safety.
Yes, his partner is Feri. Satrydadi. So 2 players with 3 names between them.
Well, this is a totally different side than defeated Germany a few years ago. Filler, such an exciting player. He won the China Open here in Shanghai in 2017. That's such a difficult event to win.
If I'm a pool player and I want to handpick a partner for this kind of format, I think it would be Ralf Souquet. He's just got everything you would need. Composure, experience, skill, an absolutely incredible CV. He's won over 250 pool tournaments around the world.
Well, yeah, and when I've written many articles about Ralf, and when he went into the Hall of Fame, Billiard Congress of America Hall of Fame, the BCA, and was writing an article for Billiards Digest, and I contacted Ralf. I said, Ralf, could you send me your CV? And the thing was like 10 pages long. I said, Ralf, you got something a little more, I can, with the juicy parts in it? And he did have one. He has one that's 1 page. It just sort of the highlights, and wow, what a bunch of highlights it is.
Well, I think that story underlines the way he is. Completely professional, totally meticulous, and normally on target. Really, the word normal there was redundant. He's pretty much always on target, and he certainly was there in the first rack. The Germans looking formidable in the early going.
Well, it's nobody stays on top forever. We've seen players have surreal runs through this sport. Mika Immonen, Darren Appleton, but nobody stays on top forever. Even Ralf Souquet, as meticulous as he is, as dedicated as he is to his craft, he's the consummate professional. Of course, he's had his ups and downs over his career, and there was a time maybe about 5 years ago where Ralf was a bit down, and then but he just sticks to his routine. And Ralf has turned it around in the last 2 years and won a couple of Euro Tour events and made it onto the Mosconi Cup again in 2017 and again won with Team Europe. He was an integral part of that. And of course, he played with Joshua Filler in Vegas in the last Mosconi Cup, and Filler sank the final 9 ball in that Mosconi Cup for Team Europe and captured the MVP prize. So these two have played together as teammates. Well, Ralf pounds that rack, but nothing down. So he'll have to take a seat. It'll be Indonesia at the table. Dry break, we call that. Feri Satrydadi to take on this yellow 1 ball. No. Right idea. He had the position on the 2, but you've got to make that 1 ball first. Wow. Filler takes it on and nails it right in the side pocket.
The only negative. He's left rather hampered queuing. Hence the grimace from Souquet.
You have to have 1 foot on the ground.
I'll tell you what, he's very flexible, isn't he? Look at this. He's 50 in November. If I did that, I'd be down outpatients. A real veteran, Souquet, but absolutely chock full of experience.
See that? Joshua not afraid to get in there and mix it up and give a little advice to the elder statesman there. Oh no, it rolled off a bit there, that 2-ball. Yeah, that was very difficult cueing. So a good chance here now for Indonesia.
Well, not making excuses for Souquet, but that ball definitely rolled off, there's no doubt about it. Definitely veered off to the right. And I think it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, when Indonesia have chances, they simply have to take advantage of them. And he's missed the 3-ball.
You were saying, Phil? Wow.
He did play with lots of side, but that's still no excuse.
That's a shocking miss there. Yeah, this one is laid out perfectly for Team Germany. I expect them to be up 2-0 very shortly. Joshua, when he played in the Mosconi Cup, very animated. He was doing a lot of celebrating, and he was walking around the table very confident. Some bit of a divided opinion. Some of the Americans, obviously, they were not happy with the way he was playing. They thought he was acting. Some were saying he was cocky. I didn't believe he was cocky. I just believe he's a bit of a breath of fresh air in the pool world. He's excited about what he does. He loves the sport so much, and when he plays well, he gets excited. I mean, he was told, I think Ralf had to calm him down a bit and said, make sure you shake your opponent's hand when you win a match and before you celebrate. But he's such a phenomenal talent, Phil. And this is the kind of player that the sport of pool needs coming through the ranks. So someone, Clenti Catchy's another one, a great young player. These guys are the future of this game.
And we've got 2 more here. Victor Zielinski from Poland, who's already through, and Fedor Gorsht from the Russian team. So it's Filler, the young man, is going to fill up the pocket with a 9-ball. 2-0 Germany, and the story of this match so far, Indonesia simply can't afford to make mistakes because their opposition is as sharp as you like.
Certainly one of the favorites here, Team Germany. And again, when you win in China, it's not an easy place to win. Joshua Filler won. Here's that slow roll he hit, and this definitely rolled off a bit. Maybe a little bit of a slow skid on this slick cloth. Ralf was quite disappointed, but they got one back here because Indonesia missing that 3-ball there. Feri Satrydadi coming up short, a shocking miss. So that's why they're down 2-0.
Germany have their country's name on this trophy. They won it in 2011 in Manila in the Philippines, overcoming surprise finalists Kopkit Palagin and Kanjanasri by 10 racks to 4 in the final.
Kanjanasri just playing in that match versus Holland with Thailand, which Thailand went down to defeat, but they made a very good account of themselves.
Just telling you the full history of Germany in this tournament as another pretty good break is made. They were also the losing finalists in 2009, and they've been semi-finalists 2006, the inaugural year, and in 2010 as well.
Well, 2009, they played against, in Manila, against the legends Efren Reyes and Francisco Bustamante in front of their home crowd, and that was one of the most amazing pool matches I've ever witnessed. And the Philippines came out on top right at the end.
So just played that shot quietly, did Souquet. It's a tough pot, but Filler is such a good potter, you've got the utmost confidence in this one going in. Of course, Souquet was on that winning team in 2011 in Manila with his partner, former world 9-ball champion Torsten Homan.
Extension call.
Wow. He just drilled that one. Position on the 4.
I mentioned before, of course, Ted, that Souquet is 50 this coming November, but in Q Sports recently we've been shown that age is no barrier. 43-year-old Mark Williams winning the World Snooker Championship for the 3rd time, 15 years after capturing the title for the 2nd time. And in this rack, it's the younger man who makes the mistake, well short of pace.
Yes. So will Ralf go for this? Or will he play safe? Well short, that cue ball. He's looking at it. He's looking to pot it, it looks like. Guess no other choice, really. And we go safe.
He actually got the 9-ball in
Nicely
motion
done.
there, didn't he?
Nicely done. Hate to give up the table, but he really, I guess, just didn't want to risk it. There was nothing there on the pot, so. Indonesia cannot afford to give up this rack.
Extension call.
Arun plays his pool at the Q Pool and Cafe in Batam, his home city. Now it's all about doubles. He won a bronze medal in the 9-ball doubles at last year's Southeast Asian Games.
Okay, did a good job to hit that green 6, but it was hit and pray. Looks like he's left that on. Wow. Fantastic shot. Fearless.
And as you were mentioning about his behaviour at the Mosconi Cup, not a shrinking violet either. You know exactly what he's thinking, and he was delighted with that one. The Germans, as advertised, looking very useful indeed. Ominous. We know from the previous match that 3-0 doesn't mean a great deal. What it does mean here, though, is that Germany, at the very least, are off to the start they would have wanted. We are in Shanghai, China, the biggest city in the most heavily populated nation on earth. It's the World Cup of pool. Canada this evening have been shocked, losing 7-3 to Scotland after being 3-0 ahead. Germany are 3-0 up on Indonesia, and they are looking mighty good. Later on, our final match of this evening pits China B up against South Africa. One note there. In 2015 at the World Cup of Snooker, which was held right here in China, China B, two teenagers, surprised the world by capturing the title. Zhu Yulong and Yan Pingtao, so why not China B here?
They're very capable. The China B team won a qualifier here in Shanghai. Both of the China B players are based out of here. They're members of the local association, and they are professionals on the scene here in China. They have a big pool scene in this country. Certainly not as well known as China A with Wu Cha-ching and Lu Haitao, but very capable nonetheless.
So that's the match following this, and if the Germans carry on in this vein, China B and South Africa will be taking to the table pretty sharpish.
Filler doesn't really get phased by too many shots. He'll take anything on. Ralf has got to be feeling very good playing with Joshua Filler as partner.
They say, don't they, that opposites attract. Filler and Souquet clearly are opposites in the way they approach the game, but in terms of skill level and how dangerous they are, they're very alike. And I think together they form a very potent duo.
Yeah. You don't want a player who's exactly like you. You want to come together as a team, each player bringing their best assets to form a good pair. This is they look really good right now. And usually I mean, you see teams, even teams that go on to win. I mean, the first match is not easy. Even if your opponent is of a lesser experience and not of your playing caliber, still it's hard to come out here in this environment on these new tables, TV arena. You're in a foreign country. We often see teams, even the better teams, struggle at the beginning of the event.
Now, we talked about Filler as a shot maker. He'll need to be so here because the cue ball is stopped in just the position that the Germans didn't want it to be, i.e. he's pretty straight on this
Extension call.
8 ball, and so he will need a mighty positional effort to get anywhere close to the 9. Ralf was shaking his head when he realised where the white was going to stop. Oh, that is absolutely world class from Joshua Filler. Look at the spin on the cue ball. Fantastic.
Plus he had to pound it in that corner, so great shot by Filler. Ralf takes the 9. You know Ralf, every rack here, every shot is just feeling really good about playing in this World Cup of pool with Joshua Filler, one of the great young stars of the sport.
Well, this is the 5th match of this World Cup of Pool, and that is one of the finest shots of hundreds we've seen so far today. Appreciated by Souquet. Look at this. That's how to manufacture an angle.
Out of thin air.
And after that, the 9-ball, while not a certainty, everyone would have been entirely shocked had Souquet missed it. Well, in the first 4 matches of the day,
Take 5.
one team sprang into a 3-0 lead, but no one has led 4-0 before this. Could we be seeing the first whitewash of this year's event? With the Germans breaking off, this being a winner breaks format, the whitewash is on.
No, not like that.
Foul.
Here's a chance now for Indonesia to at least get one on the board. A scratch on the break here. You can see it was not his fault. The cue ball got kicked by the 7, so very unlucky there for Team Germany, but it'll be ball in hand for Indonesia. You can place that cue ball anywhere on the table.
They're always building up the whitewash. I've been commentating on Q Sports for 27 years and I never learn. As soon as you say something, the opposite happens.
Looking at the 2-9. Oh, I didn't see a pass. Oh, there's a very thin alley there. Didn't look like a pass from that angle, but obviously it did. But that was not a poor. That was some poor execution there. But he got away with it because it ended up safe.
What about if he'd potted the ball? Okay, it would have been a different angle and a different reaction. But let's just say he had potted it. Look where he would have been. Self-imposed snooker on the red 3.
I think the Indonesians are quite intimidated at this point. Oh, yeah. Great shot, but no position to a pot there. That was always going to be difficult, but great highlight shot there. You can see Ralf, he knows it's about that position. Position's not there. Yes, good kick shot to make the 2. So they'll have to manufacture a safety out of this.
The clock ticking down.
Extension call.
No surprise to anyone that the extension is taken.
Oh, nicely done. Look at that. Marrying that cue ball up against the pink 4. How do you get any confidence in Indonesia right now? They've had all these misses. Germany's playing great. And, I mean, you just look across the arena at your opponents. You're looking at one of the greatest to ever play. And a guy, his partner, who everyone is saying is the new face of pool. Tall order indeed for Indonesia.
Well, for the moment, that escape acceptable, but of course it means that Germany almost certainly will put them back in trouble. Needed just a touch more pace on the cue ball to be locked up. I think you can see a sliver of the 3, just about. Needs the white to stop.
It's not going to work. And Joshua Filler, he likes these kind of shots. The lefty not afraid to take on the long ones with confidence.
Here's the free queuing lefty, rather like Jason Shaw.
Yeah. But it's very ominous now for Indonesia.
Souquet there breathing a sigh of relief, almost overcut that previous pot. But there's absolutely no sign of inaccuracy from Filler. It's far too early to start making predictions about who will win the tournament. We just don't know. What we do know is that Germany have the ingredients.
Well, and these ingredients are mixing well together. This is an impressive performance. Now, the quality of their opposition here is a bit below par, but still, just watching these two play together, I mean, I'm so impressed with Joshua Filler. We don't need to say much more about Ralf Souquet. Everybody knows how great he is, but you might think, oh, Filler's got to be, in awe playing with Souquet, and it must be such an honor for him to play with a legend such as Ralf. But I think Ralf has to be feeling very good about playing with Joshua Filler on his side.
I think he will. He won't be feeling good about that positional shot though, because it was a large margin of error and he's left the cue ball appreciably short.
Was it ever in doubt, Phil?
Well, not with him queuing. He really is a fantastic potter, and although that was a pot that could have been missed, it went in smoothly and with self-assurance. And so Germany lead 5-0. The whitewash I was telling you about could still be on, even though in that rack, if you recall, they scratched.
See, we've seen several times now in this match where the youngster Filler's the one to pick up the slack in the team. That's what you do. That's what makes a great team. See, Ralf has had several positional errors. We saw it in the other rack where Filler had to manufacture an angle out of nothing on the 8-ball and managed to leave an easy 9 for Ralf to win the rack. And right there, Ralf left tough position for Filler on the 9, and he just steps up and nails it.
You know, Europe have won the Mosconi Cup every year since the old king died. It's been an extraordinary run of success, and you think, well, why has that happened? Maybe one of the reasons is what's happened here today. If Germany win, and surely it's a matter of when, not if, it will mean 5 matches played in this tournament so far, 5 European nations through. What a pool of talent to choose from. An embarrassment of riches.
Wow, what a break shot there. Except, not sure if this is potable. Looks like more of a safety here. Well, you were saying about Europe. The talent is everywhere, and it never seems to end. Let's face it, I mean, the Europeans generally treat it as a sport. Where some other places, it can be more of a money game thing. Gambling. Pool can be gambling, but in Europe, it's a sport. I mean, Ralf Souquet is a sportsman. Through and through. Wow. Fantastic. Right between that 6 and 9. Just like he wasn't even thinking about it and he did it. The way he was so casual.
It's his surname. Filler, fill the gap.
Seriously, folks, you are looking at an absolute phenomenon in pool. Joshua Filler, just 20 years old.
Extension call.
In the newspaper trade, a filler is a small story. Just make up space where needed. This filler is a headline.
Phil, you're amazing. I swear, Phil, you prepare that stuff, but I think it just pops into your head, doesn't it? That was very good. Right up there with Chili is Red Hot. Oh, another ominous rack for Indonesia.
Indonesia just can't get in.
Well, it's not the longest ride back to Indonesia from Shanghai.
Yes, and on that subject, I've got plenty of statistics about the players, but one I haven't got, and one I would love. How many air miles has Ralf Souquet flown in his career?
Millions. I would say the most traveled pool player in history.
Half Q will travel extensive distances.
I mean, and Ralph is the most organized player, I think, on the tour, on the pool scene. He has his whole itinerary planned out months in advance. It's very similar to the way he plays. He even admits he's very pedantic. He's got everything in order in his life. He is truly the consummate sportsman. He's one of a kind in this game.
He called that 7 ball just a tad too thick, even though it went in, and that's why it's not ideal position on the 8. And eventually, Filler,
he's human.
Misses.
He is human. But he leaves it on the rail. That makes the cueing a lot more difficult. Well, Phil, your predicted whitewash in jeopardy now?
Absolutely, but a good shot required here, and not produced.
Oh.
The Indonesians feeling completely down.
You could tell several racks ago they were intimidated by this great German squad.
The application of side just to make absolutely sure he was on the correct side of the 9 ball, and this is pretty much a given. Six of the best from Germany. They absolutely cruise on. They need one more rack to go through. Indonesia in grave danger of being whitewashed. When you mix the words World Cup and Germany, magic seems to happen. It's happened in soccer on many occasions. It's happening in pool here in Shanghai, and that's because Germany lead Indonesia 6-0. They're breaking off in rack 7 in just a trice, on the verge of completing the first whitewash of the tournament. If Germany get through, I think it's pretty fair to assume they will meet the winners of our next match in the last 16, China B or South Africa. Well, for the second time, Filler scratches on the brake, so just a ray of hope for the Indonesians.
It's a very dim ray. They might get a rack out of it. But they are in a deep hole. Oh, that one wiped its feet before it went in. Just very difficult to get in the groove for the Indonesians. Well, at this point, you got to let the arm go. Got to freewheel it. You're already essentially defeated. So, models will give it a go. So close again.
I think the euphemism for Arun is that he's using all of the pocket. That's what they say.
Oh no, look out. Oh, total disaster. I feel bad for the kid. It's a tough stage.
One name, could be no racks.
You can tell he's embarrassed. I mean, in a wide open table, there's no excuse for that. But it's a big stage here. A lot of nerves. You're playing against a great German side, one of the legends of the sport. Oh.
Foul.
Foul, ball in hand, and turn out the lights because this party's over.
Yes, and it was a party that had only 2 guests. 3 if you include the referee. Oh, what a shame. No joy in Jakarta this evening for pool fans. But Deutschland have been dynamic. Germany whitewash Indonesia 7-0. Ralf Souquet and Joshua Filler looking really good.
The The perfect start for Germany as they attempt to win this tournament for the second time. Absolutely brilliant. A whitewash over Indonesia, 7-0. A superb start to the tournament for them. And confirmation of the match stats, completely dominant in every way. 7-0. Germany looking absolutely dominant with the great Ralf Souquet and the young talent alongside him who has played absolutely brilliantly as well. Joshua Fuller, well done to you both. Ralf, firstly, how much are you enjoying playing alongside your countryman who is such a young talent?
Well, I'm absolutely enjoying it because he's one of the best shot makers there is, probably the biggest talent right now in the world, in my personal opinion. So it's really a great pleasure to play along with him, and so that's all I can say. You know, it's just so much fun. We really enjoyed teaming up. We practiced together quite some time before coming here. So, and you know, it's not everything perfect yet, but every first round match in the tournament is a little difficult. You know, you need to find the gear, you need to get used to the equipment, but slowly we will get there.
And you personally have won this tournament before for Germany. How are you feeling? Do you just sense that this might be your year again?
Well, I don't really want to think that far. You know, we have to see every game, every match at a time, and well, we have only through the first round, so I don't really want to think that far. But you know, anything can happen.
Joshua, great words from the legend.
Oh yeah, of course.
Are you enjoying playing alongside this man? I mean, it really looked like you guys were relaxing into it.
Yeah, well, he's an icon in the sport, and I watch a lot of videos when he plays with Thorsten, when he won the tournament, and yeah, I just want to watch it and get experience about this event.
And now you're playing alongside him. Congratulations to you both. Well done. The perfect start. We'll look forward to seeing you later in the tournament. They've just been planning their couple of days off, and they will enjoy them, I'm sure. Bit of practice and a bit of sightseeing as well, as Germany beat Indonesia 7-0.